Mintro is a social app exclusively for adults 50 plus that are looking for new and meaningful friendships. Our primary objective is to help eradicate social isolation and loneliness amongst our maturing population.
Lovely, very beautiful social purpose to your business. Karen.
Thank you, Cassandra. So at Kaylee Software, we specialize in custom software development. We offer services such as website development, mobile, desktop application. We do have our own software as well, like e-commerce and job board application. So we customize those and sell it to customers.
Perfect.
Thank you for having me today. So at VSETA, we're actually an IoT company, and we help property managers and facility managers to reduce their liability with slip and falls and water spillages through a smart technology that we're developing.
Concern for my mom, who was widowed 15 years ago, is in her early 70s and did everything right. She got married, had a career. She was a nurse back in the day, and had her kids, raised them, went into business with my dad, and so her life involved taking care of us, going to the office, taking care of the customers, coming home, taking care of us, and then doing it again day in and day out for the bulk of 30 years. Now she's widowed. She's, like I said, in her early 70s, and she has a very small circle of friends and a diminishing circle of friends for a number of reasons. People have passed or have relocated. Some of them have moved out of state, for example, to be closer to their adult children. And so it was just me as a daughter observing my mom's lifestyle and recognizing how amazing of an individual she is, but her circle of friends is not there as much anymore. And what's that going to look like for her in 5 to 10 years? And what is that going to look like for myself and my brother, who worry about our mom and the quality of life that she's living? So I put my head down and started brainstorming and thought, well, let's go back to good old-fashioned friendships. That's how we started. When we start in school, that's one of the first things we do is we learn how to make a friend. And so we've come up with a Mintro, basically as the old school ground.
We were at an event, and we went into one president of a major company, and he said that this is a problem that I'm facing. One of them was going through litigation due to slips and falls, and paying about $500,000 to fight those litigation became a consistent thing. And I really like that problem as itself because it's got a monetary value, so it really means something to a company. And that's where we saw the opportunity, and we started engaging with the market, and we realized that this is something that's just not an individual thing. This is many industry problem they're dealing with. And even the laws around it is a lot of the property manager, facility managers really get dinged or bounded, is that not knowing about it, and reasonable common sense plays off of them. And as a result, they're having to go through those. So for us, this was a great opportunity, and this was a problem that was staring in our face, and we grabbed onto the opportunity.
Yes, so at Kaylee Software, we are very customer-oriented. So our customers are involved in every aspect of their project. So we ensure that the customers do get engaged in every single step, from design to the implementation stage. And our commitment doesn't even stop there. So when the project goes online, we don't stop there. We continue providing them support. We offer them maintenance services. Then we also add additional features as their business grows. So we always work with our clients throughout the life cycle of their project.
Immerse yourself in the industry that your idea revolves around, and it could be a multitude. Mine was technology and gerontology, and educate yourself. Starting a business, coming up with an idea and following through with it is basically like going back to university, except you're on the streets. You're not in the confines of a university campus, you're in the confines of the world and access to information. And I think you just educate yourself. You say yes to any coffee request, regardless of whether you see a potential benefit or not. There is always a benefit, whether it be the individual you're meeting with or someone you meet through 6 degrees of separation, or that individual recommends an association or asks if you've heard about whatever. I think you need to get out there, you need to educate yourself, you need to network, you need to meet the right people, you need to meet the wrong people. I think that's really important. What's more important than that is identifying the right people, the wrong people. The productive contacts, the ones that maybe aren't so much right now, maybe down the road. That would be my recommendation.
Terrific.
I agree with you. I think one thing I really learned is that you really have to know your industry and your business inside out, top to bottom, everything about it. You got to know it better than your customers and the people you interact with. That's one of the things I've come across is, being in what I'm doing right now with property managers, I got to know it better than them to be able to rebuttal some of the things that they're coming up with.
Oh. But where does that come from? That comes from reading and research.
Talking to people, yeah.
Yeah, and being inquisitive. That's really another big piece of it is there's no room for ego.
Yeah.
In I think in business in general, but definitely in the startup sort of sector. And so ask questions and admit, whether it be to yourself, that you don't know everything. And you don't have to know everything. You just need to know what you need to know to produce a product that is going to service your clients, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I agree.
So while I was in school, I had multiple co-ops and internship. So a couple of my bosses were my mentors who taught me, because they also worked in a startup. So they knew how the startup works. So they told me what the business is about, how to run your business, what, if you are in technology sector, what to look for, how you should change your products with the technology, how to offer a better solution. So I think my mentors were really great, and I still use their advice and I still talk to them.
Wonderful.
So I think business is just about learning as you go. Yeah.
I think mentors, I don't know, I haven't found it's a very lofty title. And it's very I found it challenging to find someone say, hey, would you wear this hat? It's called mentor. Would you be my mentor? But I observe. I learn through observation and through asking questions. And I'm amazed at how generous people are with their knowledge and their experience if you ask them for it. I don't really have a single mentor. I seek to learn from people that have succeeded and have excelled, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in my field, in my industry, because there's so much knowledge out there, but you want to learn from people that have overcome the challenges of starting a business. At the end of the day, regardless of what the business is, we will all be facing similar challenges, right?
Absolutely.
That's a tough one. Starting my own business, I knew what I was doing, but setting a price, it was really hard. And but I did a lot of research. I did my homework. I looked up the competitors in the market, saw what they were offering, what their prices were. And then what we came up with was offering the competitive pricing with unique features and then better service. So it all boils down to, if you are in the same market and if you're going to offer a similar kind of service, you need to give them something better than what your competitors are giving.
I think that's what you've just said is actually key to it. It's do your research, do your homework, see what the competitors are doing, or maybe you don't really have competitors, but something similar. Make a determination of what you're going to bring to market at what price and what the value is, and know what your value is and know how to express that value to your potential customers. Once you're up and running and you've got some sales and it comes for renewals or whatever the case may be, whatever your business model is, your customers are then going to tell you, and they might not verbally tell you, but the pattern of retaining the customer is going to tell you what you need to know as far as a lot of factors: the pricing, quality of your service. You know, do you have to create a new feature? Right? We really, at the end of the day, it's going to be the customers that form what a Mintro does next, not Charlene. I'm their employee.
You can guide it.
I do what they are telling me to do, right?
Oh man, where do I start? I have a whole list if you want to go
Just
through
one.
that.
Let's talk about one.
Okay, so the main one that I feel in terms of day-to-day is communication and really making sure the team is on page with everybody else. That's what I feel like is one of the main challenges day-to-day that I've been experiencing quite often. Communication number one, so you know, having a team member explain to me what's going on and having it done within at least a few sentences, not rambling on for entire 10 minutes about something that they could be done in a few sentences. And at the same time, communicating those ideas and making sure that each person on the team is on the same page, so that when we do move forward, it's not me moving forward, I'm looking back, where's the rest of my team, and they're behind me and they don't know what's going on. So that's one thing I personally really strive for, is communication and really making sure that we're all on the same page together. So that when we move forward, when we execute an idea, when we do something, everyone knows about it. And communicating that in the most short, sweet words possible, not rambling on. That's for me is one of the challenges that I'm trying to overcome currently, main one. And now we're doing communication through phone now, not even face-to-face anymore. That's even the worst part. It's just like, no, I want to be able to see you and have this conversation in person, not behind an email or the phone. That's 140 characters, as you said, but it's that's where it's going towards now. So nothing beats that.
You can't you can't deliver energy through a tweet or a text or
Emails.
No, you can't. God, the amount of miscommunication I've had because they didn't pick up on a little nuance of an email. And then you end up meeting face to face after to clarify, which it would have saved a bit of time. You could have done, initially, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Other challenges? Charlene, do you have one that...
I think forecasting, budgeting. Budgeting, I find problematic. Because a lot of it is based on, it's speculative. So if we get X amount of members signed up, that will result in, how much tech support or other services that we need to provide, that sort of thing. And you don't really know. So I find it challenging to determine an actual dollar amount. And then if you don't have that, is it a difference of $5 or is it $50? Well, it seems small, but it could be a big difference when you're running a business.
I think for me, the biggest challenge would be growing the business. So after you get X number of customers, how do you grow the business? I think that's the biggest challenge for any startup. Because you start with one client and then you grow, and then what you do after that, because you reach a maximum point where you can support these clients, and how do you take it forward?
And there's a multitude of answers to that question, right?
Different perspectives.
Absolutely. There's many ways to create more revenue. What is right for your organization, and then what will it take? Do you create a new feature? Do you create a whole new software product? Do you just amp up your sales force? Do you go after a different niche market? There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential, but with that comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of follow through and project management and
which has their own set of challenges.
That's all. It's basically creating a whole. Exactly.
I read
What's
an
the right
article-
answer? my husband has made the comment a couple of times. I was an executive for a media PR company prior to resigning, actually, to start a Mintro. And my husband was, I guess he was under the impression that if I was working for myself, I'd be more available and I'd have more free time. He's like, you're working more hours in a day. You had more work-life balance before you started out building your own business. And it's absolutely true, except it doesn't feel like work. I could do it probably 24 hours a day, honestly, if I didn't have to answer to like, oh, dinner, okay. You know, like I've got to have, you know, I've got to eat. And I am way more fulfilled in what I'm doing than all the years of my career, which I absolutely loved. But I never imagined that I would feel as energized and excited and like it's in my core and in everything that makes me who I am, what I'm doing today.
There's actually a saying about this that an entrepreneur is a person who is not willing to work 40 hours for another employer, but willing to work 80 hours a week for himself or herself. So, yep, it does. So for me, like working from morning to night and then doing everything in business, it does give a lot of energy. If I work for somebody else, I think I wouldn't enjoy that much. Being my own boss, which is great.
This is something that I've been asked a lot, and here's really what I want to say, because I know a lot of people are going to be listening to this and hearing out, and I don't want to give them the false hope that entrepreneurial starting a business is fun and you be your own boss. It's a lot of work. It's so much work involved that sometimes you're stretched, not only physically, but mentally. And I think mental part is the most important thing we have to worry about. You know, you will have more lows and highs in throughout your day. You will get doors shut in your face. You will worry every single day what's gonna happen. It's literally, you know, having a blindfold over your eyes and walking, and you don't know whether your next step is gonna make you or break you. So, is it a lot of work? Tons of it. Like it's not a fulfilling thing, but if you do it, the amount of stuff you learn, you know, you talked about wearing a number of hats. Absolutely. I wear so many different hats, and I've learned so much, not only about tech, but finance, marketing, you know, business, project management, so many different things. But, you know, I just want to say that being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, it can be very, very mentally draining and challenging, but in the long run, it's so fulfilling. And I see people, I see kids, oh, I want to have a startup, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't think they understand that your idea, nobody cares about your idea. It's the execution. Are you cut out to execute
Correct.
this idea from start to finish, or are you going to give up at the end?
I agree with you. It's absolutely not for the faint at heart.
Yeah.
You do not sleep.
Yeah.
My mind goes a mile a minute at night, and I watch the clock and the hours go by. And then you wake up on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and your eyes are burning, but you go and you do it. It is tough.
It's very tough.
You know, you do not have the resources that, I know I don't have the resources that I had readily available at my fingertips back in my past career. You wear all the hats. Their delegation is very restricted and limited. I get the concept. But if there's nobody to delegate to because you're starting out, well, you just look in the mirror and delegate. And there you go. Now you got to do it type thing. It helped me with networking. When I launched when I started a Mintro, the journey towards a Mintro, I also relocated to the area. So I walked away from my place of comfort, my social network, my professional network, and I had nothing. And I got introduced to BEC, and through it attended a bunch of seminars, met basically fellow entrepreneurs and business owners, but also neighbors, because they lived in the community. That was a really for me, that is one of the bigger pieces that I got out of BEC, was actually not feeling so isolated and alone, and getting to know people and working with locals.
Right.
You know, which I would never have been able to have met necessarily had I not started attending some of the functions and seminars at BEC.
So for me, before I came to BEC, I knew what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, but I think BEC taught me what business is really about, how to do the business. I didn't even know about the break-even point, how to set the sales, how to do a sale forecasting. I attended a boot camp week for a week. So that was really great because I learned a lot from that about my business that I didn't know. Because I was running my business for a year and there were things that I didn't know. So I think BEC really helped me understand what business is about.
I really take advantage of the networking events at BEC, and through it, you know, I met Prince and Jennifer, which have been really great help for me, guiding me through, you know, if I had questions about, you know, how do I access funding, if that's available, through BEC, or what resources can I look into. They're always available there, you know, at an email. So for me, reaching out and finding and having a bit of guidance where to go, that's what I've really utilized. What I would really like to see, or what I could see BEC offering more, is more networking events. I would love to see, you know, how to start a startup sort of education thing for a lot of the youth. I think we can really utilize them, and they would love to have something like that. Like, I was in an event and we had a kid who was interested in the summer company, and you know, he was talking about his idea. He wanted to start a branding clothes. He wanted to get suppliers, manufacturers, this and that. And I stopped and I said, I think you need to first figure out whether your branding is even needed in the market, right? So I definitely think stuff like that, more educational resources, more networking events, would be really, really cool to see, and I would love to attend those and not just attend, but also give part. It talked about
Contribute.
right, the mentoring part. I don't think any entrepreneur can ever wear the mentor hat. You know, they're always be seeking someone. It's just a matter of whatever I learn from someone, I should give it back. You know, and that's what.
Point though, I think any one of us can be a mentor. You know, like what we have learned already
Absolutely,
makes us mentors for that knowledge.
Yeah.
There's someone that is up and coming, that is aspiring, that hasn't reached the level where we are at,
Yeah.
that we could actually help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we continue, because we continue to aspire.
Yeah.
We're looking up for another mentor, and
Yeah.
as we accomplish and achieve, I think the mentors will change.
Yeah, absolutely.